Hello everyone and welcome to another Anthem live stream. I'm Ben Irving, lead producer for Anthem, and today we have a very special guest who has actually been here for every stream, I think, but first time sitting in the hot seat.
Yep.
We have Jessie. Jessie, do you want to, not that you really need an introduction, but just introduce yourself to the fans?
Yeah, for those that don't know me, I'm Jessie Anderson, one of the community managers on Anthem. Andrew Johnson also has been working behind the scenes. You'll probably see him one of these streams coming up, but yeah, glad to be here on camera.
Yeah, we are very excited to have you. So actually, Jessie, do you want to talk us through what's the agenda for today? What are we going to cover?
Yeah, so originally we said we were going to do some legendary missions. We won't be doing that today. We're primarily going to cover what we've got coming in the next update. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you some things that we've changed. And that's primarily like the point of this stream is just showing everyone what we've been working on. And Ben, you had some things you wanted to talk about too?
Yeah. So I think like just kind of to riff off that a little bit, what we've heard a lot from reading social media, Reddit, all that kind of stuff is that people want an update on, what are the bugs that we're fixing with the next patch, and what are some of the quality of life things. So we figured that we'd spend most of our time just talking about them. I think first off, the big one is where we're at with crashes. We just posted some stuff on Twitter, but we've been investigating crashes, disconnects, that kind of stuff. We actually have a strike team going internally full of some really talented engineers who are spending all of their time resolving that. So we have a whole lot of crash fixes going into our next patch. That patch is currently scheduled for March 12th. That's our goal. We'll see where that hits, but it should be pretty close to March 12th. So in that are things like some of the PlayStation crashes. So there have been some reports where a PlayStation can temporarily power down. And so just to be clear, in all the instances we're aware of that we've investigated in partnership with First Party, they can be powered back up if you know how to just turn the power back on and cycle it properly. And so we have discovered a bunch of things that were causing crashes. One of them was that, and we've addressed them in our patch. So have we caught every crash in the game? I don't know, probably not, but we feel like we've addressed a lot of the really big offenders, and that should make the experience really good for players, we think, when that goes live on March 12th. So that was the first one. The second one is I think we're going to play the whole game today with our level 1 defender. Because that's the new hotness of what to play Anthem with. Just kidding. So we did just, it has been reported and it's getting some traction on Reddit that the level 1 defender rifle is doing too much damage. That's a bug and we can fix it super easily. We just got to work out how quickly we can get that out. So our goal is to fix that real soon. So no worries about that. And then I think, why don't we stop the gameplay, and then we can. Well, why don't you talk about? So we're going to play on the build that's going to go out next.
Yep. So
week, right?
What you're going to see is the same build that you'll all have next week when you update. Hopefully March 12th. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So here we are. We're using Colossus.
First thing. Jessie, are you in a group? Yes or no?
No, I am by myself right now.
But you do see hold Y to start expedition.
I do.
So that was one of the things requested a lot. Was hey, like in a group that thing's there. Can I just have it all the time so that if you're picking up a contract from Yarrow, kind of at the opposite end of Fort Tarsus, you can now push this button. It'll take you straight in to the start of expedition. Yep. So kind of cut out some of that travel time. And there we go. So I think we're just going to do free play today and mess around a little bit.
Can show some cool things that we've been fixing. Oh, I need to.
We're going to do Grandmaster 3, right?
We could probably just go up to hard here.
We were joking because Jessie didn't give himself a high-level build.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can't be playing hard on stream. We're going to be the pleb devs who don't know how to play the game.
I tried with the gear I've got on Grandmaster 1, and it was it was a little rough.
All right, so, that's fine. That's fine.
We can hop in here to expedition.
So some of the things we did was it last man? The weeks are a bit of a blur. I think it was last week we did some loot changes as well. Mm-hmm. So there was lots of frustration about mainly around I think infusions not being good enough. Like you could get bad rolls, and so. I'm sure if you're watching the stream, you're kind of aware of it. We did some posts to Reddit, communicated the problem, what we wanted to do, and then we were able to get that in. I think it was next day or the day after. I can't remember now. I think it was Thursday.
Yep.
And and the TLDR of that is, inscriptions should be more relevant to the weapon or the item, specifically if they impact that item. So the gear icon things, which means it's just for that item, are always good for the weapon or item that it's on, and then any suit bonuses that could apply to anything, they apply to anything. So having a lightning damage or electricity damage bonus on a weapon is still cool, because if you're playing an electricity storm build, like, that's still useful to you. So
yep.
I think that's been pretty good. We're monitoring all of that. We're always going to review things like drop rates and that kind of stuff. We think there are a couple things missing still. So originally we wanted to remove uncommon and common, so white and green drops from level 30 content. We couldn't do that the fast way or the server-side way, but we have addressed that in the patch coming on March 12th. So hopefully that makes that experience better. I think people were getting frustrated that doing super hard content and then you get a stack of common and uncommon drops. Not really cool. So we've addressed that for March 12th. And then I think the part we haven't done yet, and we'll just monitor it, and we're talking internally about some plans, are, GM 2 and 3, that's Grandmaster 2 and 3, don't feel as rewarding as we'd like them to be right now. I think from an efficiency standpoint and from a quality of loot you get perspective, either through like the drop rates or even the types of items that are dropping, the rarity and stuff like that. So we're going to look into that. That's not in this next patch, but we're on top of that. We're listening to the feedback. So something like a consolidated thread on Reddit would be cool if you guys feel like doing that just kind of talks through any feedback you have for GM2 and 3. We'd love to read that feedback. We're reading it, but it's a bit spread out at the moment.
So I wanted to point out also, if anyone was like, oh, noob, you overheated and crashed to the ground, did anyone notice how quickly I actually recovered from that?
So I didn't realize you were looking at me. You were trying to time me to end talking, but I talked too much.
That's fine.
That's my fault. Okay, let's try again.
So when you overheat now, before Colossus players might have noticed, it took a little while to...
The heavy hit reaction was a little brutal.
So overheating, running into walls, if you happen to do that, takes a little while. But so if you watch now, you crash into the ground. You can move pretty quick after.
If you blink, you miss it, basically.
Yeah, so...
But here's the thing, though, right? Stuff like this, at least to me, it's like little quality of life things. If we get enough of them done, again, based on player feedback, I feel like it makes a really big difference to like the enjoyment of when you play the game. Yeah, it's pretty fast.
So it's a lot faster. I've been playing Colossus, and if you make a mistake and run into a wall, you're a sitting duck for a while.
Actually, so I can't remember. Do you know if we did that just for flight crashes, or is it all heavy hit reactions?
It's all heavy hit reactions.
I think it's all, yeah. So there are a couple other situations where you can get in a tough spot as a Colossus where you can't bring your shield up in time because you've got that little timeout on the heavy hit reaction. That should feel better as well.
Yeah, so gear, you can use gear quicker after taking a heavy hit. Makes it a lot quicker, yeah, like you said, to pull up that shield. And this is going to be fun. That's only...
So other stuff, I mean, we almost are just reading through, not all the patch notes, but a bunch of the patch notes. We went through the patch notes. I think we made like 300 changes sometimes like 5 changes equals 1 patch note, so it's doesn't really work the way, but just for context, like mainly, again, our lens for what we wanted to do was like anything that would improve any kind of friction points or kind of player feedback is what we wanted to do in this patch for next week. So some other things. So I mentioned we had kind of our crash and stability strike team going, and so they were focused a lot on the specific PlayStation crashes, but honestly looking at all of the top crashes and connectivity issues. So there's a bunch of stuff related to that will go in the patch. So hopefully, people have a better experience there. One of the other big ones that had come up, both through social media and just because like when we played the game it was annoying, is quick play wasn't going so great. You would backfill into missions and they wouldn't progress. So we made a lot of improvements there. So we kind of took most of the situations that got flagged with us. So people were great about reporting specific missions and specific situations where they were hitting issues. So we've addressed all the ones we know of. That doesn't mean we've fixed all of it. I think there's some stuff to quick play we're gonna have to get better at and make it better, but at least those big things that were reported, we believe we've addressed them. It's like 7 or 8 specific situations that we've fixed. And our hope is that means, most of the time in quick play, might have to wake up the laptop, most of the time in quick play, you should have success there. So that'll be good. Another big one, sorry, let me read. So I have this fancy iPad. How do we, yeah. So like this is Twitch chat with questions.
It is.
And I get distracted very easily, but I should probably read this and look for questions as well. You know what? I was about to fake it, but I shouldn't. Which is like, oh, here's a question, but it was actually my next question. No, I shouldn't do that. Okay, so no faking ever. But,
no faking. Real question.
The next thing I had, and then I'll read for some questions. Nice pad. Thank you, man. It's really nice of you to say. Next question we wanted to talk about was another piece of feedback was, hey, it's frustrating when I matchmake with a group of people that I don't know or like I'm not on voice comms with, and they don't notice when I go down, and then they don't resurrect me, and I have no way to like do anything. So we really heard that feedback, agree it was frustrating. So what we've tried to do is we've removed as many of the respawn restricted areas as we can from the whole game. And just added a timer. So for example, like if you're in a stronghold and you go down, there's a 30-second timer. And so like ideally your friends come and repair you because that's what good friends do. But if they don't, it's just 30 seconds. It's not like an unlimited time until they defeat the boss or whatever you're doing at that point in time. And so there are still a few missions where that has to be in there for like reasons. It's just a long story, but as many spots as we could remove it, we have. So that was great feedback as well. So thank you all for that. I think that will make people's lives a bit better. All right. So do you have anything you want to talk about while I read Twitch chat?
I mean,
It's actually scrolling too fast.
So if you scroll down, like you hold the finger, and boom, then you can.
But then what happens?
You can pinpoint on something. But so one of the things I've seen is people talking about the messaging that can pop up during free play of, oh, your server is going to shut down. We've actually changed that, so it does not happen near as often until the server is actually going to shut down, pretty close to it. Also, another messaging, people with the Cortex entry that kept popping up in free play. It's like, open the Cortex and track this thing. That doesn't pop up anymore. So once you've completed that, it won't pop up anymore. So nice little quality of life improvement.
Getting a few questions about, so that's cool with the removing restricted respawn, but can you make that whole thing better? Yes, we should do that. That's like a longer term thing. You know, some of these things are what's a quick way to improve the experience, and then what's a longer term item. So on our longer term thing, I don't have a timeline for it. We have things like, you know, if I'm downed, how can that experience be improved? And there's all kinds of ideas. I don't want to get into specifics, but that's a great question. And yeah, we're going to look at that. Doing what we did for this patch was a way we could do something like in a day and then get it in a patch quickly. So it was at least removing that major friction point of like, you know, I can't use the map and I can't do anything and I have to just sit here. So that's kind of that. Pluggers. I don't know if that's for me or Jessie or someone, but thank you. It's nice. GM2 and 3 changes when. Don't have anything to announce there yet. Again, I think it would be cool to get some feedback from the community on ideally a consolidated thread, so it's one place to look on just some thoughts you have. We certainly have ideas, but until we have an actual plan that's implemented, like I don't prefer not to comment on it because so many things can change in game development, and I don't want to, you know, give the wrong idea to people or something that we're doing. So next content drop. So we've talked a bit about content that's coming. You know, we released a 90-day calendar. In there's a whole bunch of stuff slated for March. So our plan is to still release the things in March. You know, we don't have new content in this patch, March 12th, new content specifically, but the one after, at the end of March, we hope to get a couple of things in there that we had talked about before, like the Elysian chests, we called Stronghold chests before, and the legendary missions. Again, that's not a commitment, that's like a goal, just trying to be transparent about what we're aiming for. like I said, many things happen. So that's our goal for now, though. So that'll be the next thing. It's a couple weeks. It's a couple weeks away, I guess. Any word about events? Yeah, I think events is a good topic. So we've had some. We tried doing some really light events. We called them ultralight events. Because we were trying to see like what's the amount of change in free play we could do that was meaningful to players, and then kind of work on that. And so I think we've had some things that were interesting but didn't quite hit the mark, and other things that were, I think, pretty cool. Like There Be Giants was an event we've run before, and we're going to rerun that again every now and then, where if you kill the 4 named Titans in free play, you get a cool decal. And that's like something that you just get from gameplay. I think that might be the first one we have like that, maybe. Oh no, there's a couple, but...
You notice I'm not getting any common or uncommons?
I did not notice that, but that's a great call out. Maybe let's get some Jessie Poggers in chat and see if we can get that flowing.
Actually, you just talked about There Be Giants. Another fix we have in is that if you are downed right when it ends and you kill one of the Titans, you will get credit now.
If you're down when a Titan dies, you get the credit, you get the loots.
Yep, I know a lot of people were pretty sad that they weren't able to get credit on that. But
so this is my Twitch street cred. There is no Poggers in chat. Like I'm like, let's get Poggers, and there's none. There's 0. Like not even one person was like, all right, Ben, fine, here. Like I feel bad for you. It's fine.
I overheated again.
Okay, so yeah, so There Be Giants, I think, was a pretty cool event. You know, an event being something that has a limited time to it. In that example, it was like 3 days. We also did some other things like Outlaw Outrage, which we filled all the free play with outlaws. There's actually a named outlaw out in the world. I didn't actually see anyone post about that, but he drops kind of better loot. So next time that's on, you should watch for that. But I think like some of the challenge was it wasn't directed enough. Like Outlaw Outrage, there's outlaws everywhere. Like that's kind of cool. It's kind of different. But we kind of learned that, hey, it's probably better to have like a specific area of the map where something happens, and then we direct you to that area so that you're not flying through all of free play trying to discover something. So there are some lessons we've learned with that, and we'll be doing new stuff over time and improving that stuff over time. So again, feedback's really great. It's helpful in this kind of iterative process for some of these things. Support gear, what's the deal? Good question. So we would like to add, I assume you mean like for the 3rd gear slot, where are the Masterworks? You think that's fair? That's what the question is.
That's fair.
Yes, we want to do some. We want to do some soon-ish. I don't have a timeline for it. We'd also like to add some new ones at some point as well. Part of the idea was like, let's see how players use them. Let's see what works, and then let's see what gaps the different suits have and go from there. So definitely no timeline on that, but the combat team talks about it a bunch. Actually, on the combat team, okay, did that post go live? Does anyone know? Okay, so one of the things that has been asked for by the community is, hey, some of your inscriptions are a little confusing to me. I don't know exactly what they do. Could you explain it? And so Chris King, who's our gameplay design director, and Darren McPherson, who's our lead gameplay producer, you know Darren from the streams, probably haven't met Chris before, they wrote up this big post that is like, how do inscriptions work? Like, on a Masterwork, if there's 4 things, where do the 4 things come from? How do you decide? And then what do they all mean? So it's a pretty lengthy thing that we're going to post to Reddit today. It might be up. We were like approving it just as we came in here. So anyway, so that'll go up, and we're going to put it up on the EA website as a blog as well. So hopefully that gives some insight to that, because I know that people were asking for that. So that's cool. Another huge question. Sorry, I'm getting myself carried away here.
No, it's
This is fun with the iPad.
It is,
have access to
right?
everything.
You can just kind of keep
Just
going.
do whatever I want. That's fine.
Stream for 2
It's
hours.
A little bit sketchy for Jessie, who's like, are you going to do... Anyway. So, what was I going to say? Hold on. I read something that reminded me about...
It'll come back to you.
Okay. There's been a lot of questions about a stats page. Like, so just to say, yes, we think we should add a stat page. Yes, it's important. We've been talking about it long before any Reddit posts and the image that gets sent to me every 45 minutes has been around. We just have to work out like how quickly we can do it and when we can add it in. So there's no timing for that. Like it might be soon, it might not be soon, but we at least want to recognize, yes, you all are right. If you're doing builds with Masterworks, like having a stats page is super important. and we're going to work on that. And when we have an update of timing or whatever, we'll make sure to let you all know. But it's a great call out. You guys are all right. We should do that. No, that doesn't mean never. That means soon-ish. We just need to work out the timing. Pluggers. Finally getting some pluggers. Excellent. Okay, let me put this down for a second because I get too distracted. Okay, what else we got? So you talked about messages. Okay. Did you talk about the Stronghold quick play thing?
Nope.
Okay, so in the start of Expedition screen, you might have caught it if you were paying attention when we launched free play. There's now a quick play missions item, so to help people who are leveling, playing the critical path. There's also a random stronghold, basically. So you can just join any random stronghold. That was in the game, and then it was out of the game. Now it's back in the game. We think that's cool. In the future, we'd like to do something better, probably with rewards if you pick the random, but for now, it's just a cool option so that if you're like, just want to help out whoever's queuing, you can do a random stronghold. That's kind of cool. This next thing infuriated me, but mouse button 4 is no longer bound to the back button for PC players. What? So like, I use mouse button 4 as push to talk in like Discord. So I started playing, and every time I talked to my buddies, it would cancel out everything I was doing. I'm like, what is this? I actually found the solution from a Reddit post, so thank you, random Redditor, that was great. But we fixed that, so that's a small thing, but sometimes the small things count. There's a bunch of problems on respawning where you would end up behind like a wall, like a closed door you couldn't get back in. We've tried to catch as many of those spots as possible and remove them so you spawn on the right side of the wall, which is pretty cool. We talked about the next point. We already showed you the launch bay that you can spawn from anywhere. Again, that'll teleport you up to the forge, so that's pretty cool. We have a few more things, but maybe I'll go back to Twitch. I don't know, is there anything? I'm just talking at this point, I guess.
Yeah, let's see, we've covered that. Oh, another bug fix, the ultimate ability bar, like how you'd start a mission and then it looks like you have it and you don't, and then
so you're telling me now, when I dive into 10 mobs on GM1 with
you're
1
not
HP
gonna,
and ultimate,
yep.
It's gonna,
I think
it'll either actually definitely work, or I won't think it's full, right?
Right,
Yeah.
We've all been there to where we're like, oh, I can just run in here and I'll pop my ult, and nope.
I did see a bunch of questions. What about the sound bug? So we found a whole lot of situations that would cause sound to cut out, and we fixed them. That's also in this patch for March 12th. Again, this is a tricky, like, did we catch every single one ever? I don't know. But, like, did we catch a lot of them? Yes. Like, hopefully this is a huge improvement that it, like, basically never happens, but we kind of have to see. But we definitely caught and fixed a lot of those ones, which is cool.
Yep.
I'm not reading that question. What about the health bar glitch? I feel certain that we fixed it. So for reference, well, I think what this means is sometimes when you load into different difficulty missions, the UI would show different amounts of health bar pips, basically. Yep. And it was just a UI thing, like you had all the right health as far as I understand. I'm pretty certain we fixed it in this patch as well, like 85%. I didn't read it in the patch notes. Okay, we'll double check. I think it's fixed.
We're still working on the patch notes.
Okay, I think it's fixed. Oh, someone said ultimate buff, exclamation points. So let me talk about that.
Ah, yes.
So one of the things that we weren't happy about was how combat abilities that don't have items scaled. Almost like a weird sentence, but what that means is like you don't have a melee item, you don't have an ultimate item, so how do those things scale, right? And we felt like, and people reported this on the forums, and on Reddit and social media, but as you push, like, I think GM1's not too bad, but GM2, like melee damage and ultimate scaling really wasn't good. And that affects, I think, you know, things like the Ranger, who like you can have really cool builds around fast ultimate and ultimate damage, just weren't working out so great, or even Interceptor melee builds where the melee damage scaling didn't work, so, oh sorry, wasn't great. So we've improved that scaling. So as you push harder difficulties, melee and ultimates will now be much more effective, so that's really cool. And as part of doing that, we have to change some of the itemization. So you'll actually see different power score numbers now than you had before. So for example, I think, what is a Masterwork now is 45, right?
Chat,
so?
45?
Ben's brain is getting tired. Let's see.
They'll let us know.
I think it's 45. Okay, so, and now it's like 61. So like you'll log in and have like all this extra power. It's not like you have more power, but part of doing that was to get the distribution between the tiers of items to be more in line with what we wanted for damage scaling, and that also facilitates the melee and ultimate scaling as well. So, yeah, 45. That's right. And so same at that. So Masterwork is 45. I think it's 61. I don't remember.
Yeah,
and then like Legendary is 47, I think. So now it's like, I don't know, 65 or 67 or something. So again, part of that is about just scaling in general. That will free us up to do some more things in the future. Does that make GM3 easier now? No, it should. Well, like your melee and ultimates will do more damage. Yeah, but I think it should all be about the same. I guess you guys will tell us. Oh, this is a great question. Oh man, you guys are getting it going. Wind Wall blocks Ranger ult. Also fixed. Bug fixed for Tuesday.
Yep.
Wind Wall is a good question, and Bulwark Point. So put your hand up if you use them in GM 1 or 2. Oh, no one put their hand up in the whole world? That's right, because it's not worth using. So what we did was we changed their scaling as well. So, I mean, you'll all have to be the judge if we did enough there, but like, what we did was increase the damage absorb for those things so that we hope that they're useful on things like Grandmaster 1. And then to compensate for that, we just shortened their how long they're active for. So I think like the Bulwark Point, do we write down somewhere here? I think it used to be active for like 30, it used to be 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you put it down, it's there for 60 seconds. Now it's going to be there for 20 seconds, but it will absorb more damage. So hopefully that makes them useful. That's our goal. You guys let us know if you find a cool build or way to use that. Ongoing progression, where is our XP going to? Yeah, so right now at max level, XP is really useful for Alliance, so to get coins. But that's not really good enough, and so we have a bunch of plans for that we can talk about later. I don't want to talk about today. But we definitely want to extend progression, and I think one part of that is what happens to XP at level 30. So no announcements here, but good question, and we're on it. Is Gunslinger Mark going to get fixed? Yeah, so the problem with Gunslinger's Mark was, God, I can't remember. It was either stacking too high, or if you hovered too long, it stacked too many times, whatever. It made it way too powerful, and we couldn't server-side change that except for turning it off. So we turned it off, and then that's fixed in this patch also. So you should see Gunslinger's Mark go back in and work and have its values again. What about the Defender Rifle thing? You must have missed my incredibly funny joke at the start of the stream. That's a bug. We're going to address it as quickly as we can. No worries. It's just one of those things that happens. It's kind of funny, but not funny. Please make Ranger Melee a detonator. So here's the thing. I love that Ranger Melee is a primer. Like, I actually love doing the jump into melee, prime, dash back, use a detonator. I use like homing missile or missile blast or both, whatever, and like to set off a combo. I think that's cool. So no. It also makes the Ranger different, but look, here's the deal. Like, we get that the Ranger is performing a little less than the others right now. We have some ideas for how to address that. I think it's just that the Masterworks for on kill are hard to set up in a full group on like GM 1 or 2. And so we're going to look into that. We don't have that in this patch, but like that's something we need to work on for sure. Okay, I will now go back to other questions, other things. Okay, what else did we do? Oof. Did you talk about the Colossus stuff? You talked about
so we talked a little bit about it, yeah. So, can't really show it here, but the Colossus can now shield charge through destructible objects.
Okay.
So before, you would kind of like bounce off through barrels and things like that. Now you just keep on going through.
That's cool.
It's pretty awesome.
My buddy plays Colossus when I play with him all the time. Like, all he does, I swear, is put the shield up and run in circles.
It's fun.
It's actually pretty effective. And when I make fun of him, he's like, he's got way more gear than I am, and he's a better player, so it like doesn't really work out in my favor. That flamethrower on a Titan like isn't your greatest ability.
No, but look! Did you see for a second? I actually primed him.
Did you?
That was a change that I wanted to talk about. Was you can now prime Titans. Flame is not the best. Yeah. But you can actually prime them.
I thought Flame used to do 0 damage. Maybe we so we've
so they
changed
can
that
now
as well.
take
That's
damage
cool.
from stuff that they're highly resistant to, but they'll still take more damage.
That's cool.
So
why's my phone going crazy? Let me just double check.
Ben's checking. What else did we?
Normally, what happens is
the dev team goes, "Hey, you said this thing and it's wrong."
You said this thing. It's not right.
So sadly,
the health UI bug isn't fixed. So we're still working on that. Sorry, team. But it's just a UI bug. So your health is good. It's just the UI bug. So we'll have to get on that.
Sorry about that one.
Oh, that ammo.
Okay, I probably shouldn't
read all those things. Okay, cool. Okay, what's next?
Let's see.
Mark of Ruin is now functioning properly.
So which one was that? Mark of Ruin. I'm trying to remember. Was that wasn't the Storm one, was it?
I'm not sure.
Well, Mark of Ruin users, it's been fixed. And now it's going
there are a bunch of other fixes, like the Ranger Grenadier component now actually lowers the cooldown of grenade abilities by the correct amount. The rest, there's a bunch more bugs and stuff in here, but I don't know how much is noteworthy. There is something that we missed. Didn't we like increase the base damage of all Masterwork weapons? Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
That is true. Okay. Yeah, I think I certainly find this when I'm playing like we've had this philosophy for a long time that gear is really important in Anthem. It kind of separates us from other games, and we really like that. But I think some of the Masterwork weapons just felt like it was a bit of a struggle to use them, especially in like GM1 Plus. So we made them a bit better. So we probably didn't buff the autocannon. Probably not. Just spoiler, because that thing's amazing. Cool. So I guess, oh wow, we're already over time. Why don't I see if we can find a couple questions, then we can do a wrap up.
Sure.
What do you reckon? Okay. Please take advice from Travis Day. He made a great post. That's cool. He did. I said he made a great post. That wasn't the question. Just boost Avenging Herald 2 week. I don't think so, my friend. We will not be doing that. Gear in the game is lame. It's actually not. The gear is really cool. So it wasn't even a question. That was a statement you made, but it's fine. Yeah, loot drop stuff. Again, we're going to keep monitoring it. Like, we're really open to making changes. It's better in our mind to make a change, watch it, make a change, watch it, just so we understand exactly what's going on. So the one in this patch will be removing the uncommon and common items from drops at 30. Let's see if that helps at all. And if not, we'll keep investigating. As well as for us, an important thing is reviewing Grandmaster 2 and 3 and just making sure that we can make that rewarding for players. And that won't be in this patch, or probably even the one after, but it's something that we're going to do pretty quickly. We're just working on that now. What else do we have? I feel like I forgot something that I thought was going to be important, but that's okay. We can post afterwards. Yarrow dance as an emote. That's I don't know. That's a good idea. It's probably a good idea. I don't know. Okay, well, I'll pass it on. How about that?
I do
Like
want
with emotes, here's what happens. I'm not very knowledgeable about like the impact of emotes to the world and if things are a good or a bad idea, but we have people who are. So like often I'll be like, what about this idea? And they're like, here are the reasons why that's not a good idea. And I'm like, okay, my bad. But we can pass it on to the team. I'm sure they're listening, and so they can see if it's a good idea or not. It's a really cool idea. Fix quick play. I did talk about that earlier. So we've discovered a whole lot of situations where free play was busted. Like when you join into a mission, it wouldn't progress. And we fixed about 7 or 8 situations of that. We don't know we've caught every single situation, but it should make free play a lot better. So, patch notes when? When will we have patch notes publicly?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Probably Tuesday. Probably just when the patch goes live.
probably when it
right?
goes live. Yeah.
I mean, we talked through a lot of it. I think
a lot of the big ones.
The things we picked out, the things we thought you all would care about the most.
Yeah, there's a
We
lot
might get that
more
wrong.
little ones for sure, but yeah, that would be.
So,
And I do want to point out one thing people might be noticing. There's a bug on my Colossus here with his arm. So if you're wondering,
it's probably because you
I
hacked
did some
in the
weird.
persistence.
Yeah. So the way I set this up, it is not a natural
real,
way to play it. Did
That's
some
fine.
funkiness.
So someone asked about DLSS support. So it's not in this patch, but it will be coming soon. So that's that. We've heard your feedback about store. We're just trying to work out what we want to do. So people have been kind of asking like, hey, can you rotate fast? Can we have more stuff? So we're looking at that. Like, yeah. So just we're hearing the feedback. We just got to work out some options there. Okay, so I think a lot of the stuff I'm reading now is similar. Sorry if we didn't get to all of the questions. We did our best.
Yeah.
So let's summarize some of the big talking points. I don't know if you can scroll back one for me to the top of that guy. Yeah.
Yep,
So very aware of the crash reports, specifically for PlayStation 4. We've found and fixed many, many crashes that will be in the March 12th patch, or the patch we're aiming for March 12th. As far as we know, there was some instances where PlayStation 4s would temporarily power down, but in every instance that we're aware of, you could power it back up. You just had to like go push the power button, basically. And so it's definitely very safe to be playing PlayStation 4. And then we have some fixes for the issues that we're aware of coming soon on hopefully March 12th. That was a big one. Lots of stability improvements in general. So between crashes and audio cutting out fixes are in there. We've made lots of improvements to quick play so that should be a more reliable experience. We removed respawn restrictions so that if your teammates aren't paying attention while you're down, you'll respawn after a timer. The timer is different depending on the content you're doing. You know, things like server shutdown messages don't happen as often. Colossus hit reaction bugs there. Ranger ultimate behind wind wall thing is fixed. We've scaled up a bunch of the power score for Masterwork and Legendary specifically so that we can better scale melee and ultimate damage. So that should make that experience be better for people who want to focus on melee or ultimate builds, which, you know, ultimate should be really powerful, so that's cool. Tons of stability fixes, tons of bug fixes. We tried to hit the big things that we saw as feedback from the players, as many as we could in the timeline we had. So yeah, I think this is going to be a great patch that hopefully, you know, makes the experience better for lots of people.
Yeah.
I think that's a summary.
Yeah, you did good.
Cool. Well, on that note, should we bid farewell? Any parting thoughts from you? Otherwise, I'll give some parting thoughts.
No, next thing is just want to say we're going to keep streaming. We're not stopping. We're going to keep doing this. We're aiming for the goal of doing it every 2 weeks, kind of how we've already been doing. So, yeah. Yep.
And I'll probably miss 1 or 2 of them. I'm actually my brother's getting married, so I'm going to take a little time to go hang with him. So I might miss the next stream, but I'll be back after that. If you want me, I don't know. We'll probably rotate all of us and we'll do a little bit of everyone. But I might miss 1 or 2. Otherwise, yeah, thanks again for all the support, all the feedback. a special call out. I know there's a lot of great community members who put a lot of energy into writing really constructive feedback, either in positive or negative ways. And that's the best stuff. Like if you're asking yourselves, like, how can you help influence the game? The absolute best thing you can do is be vocal, but do it in a constructive way that explains why you feel this way, the reasons for it. Like, that's the stuff that we really love reading. I know there's lots of passionate people out there, and sometimes that passion kind of comes across as being a bit rude sometimes, intentionally or not. And I would just say, please do your best to be constructive. And in return, we'll do our best to listen, respond, and keep making changes and improvements, hopefully like the ones we're doing now. Hopefully that's well received. We believe that Anthem is an amazing game, but we do know there's a lot of work we have to do, and we're ready to roll our sleeves up and fix the things that have to get fixed and add the things that need to get added. So that's kind of our commitment to all of you. So on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks once again to Lisa, who is here kind of running all of this in the background. Jessie, for the first time coming on. Thank you for keeping me company. And a special shout out, obviously, to all the devs on Anthem who are out there putting in a lot of hours trying to get all the right fixes and changes into this game. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.